Man, what's that smell?
Oh, while you were stuck in that med bod, Coolerbot took up cooking. I think he's making pork chops tonight.
Pork chops? Where did he get pork?
It's synthetic meat, actually. We got it from some guy in the Quad Station space parking lot. He was selling it out of his trunk.
Is Coolerbot's food any good?
Neil, it is not.
Ironically, I like to cook with dry rubs.
Just want to say I love your Coolerbot voice.
Well, I gotta do something, so...
Even though I pitch it a little bit, the bass Coolerbot voice is solid. So the inflection is just chef's kiss. And I love that after we recorded with Tom, when Tom recorded the intro with us, he was like, I was guessing that Kenny did the Coolerbot voice.
I mean, to be honest, it does kind of sound like my voice. Like, you can kind of tell, because it does sort of sound like me.
By the way, all of this is staying in the episode because this is probably going to be a short one. Welcome to Crew Expendable. I am Guy with a lighter built into my cybernetic arm, Hallstrom.
And I am Hamhock Rohrbacher.
And we are just a couple of pit masters slow roasting our way through the alien universe.
Ah, love it. I didn't know what you were going to say for this one, and I gotta say, it was so much better than anything I had imagined in my own head. That one was really good. I liked it.
Thank you. Let's drop our topic, and then we'll get into our usual top of the show bullshit. Today, Kenny, we are reading the 1997 one-shot comic, Aliens, Pig.
We sure are, Neil.
What a comic book.
What a comic. 24 pages of just tour de force.
24 pages of sequential art perfection.
It sure is. I cannot think of a better comic I've ever read. Listeners, I'm kind of being sarcastic.
Yeah, it ain't that good, guys.
I mean, it's not like terrible, but it's not the best comic I've ever read.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's certainly unique in the grand scheme of Aliens books that I've read, certainly.
Yeah, it definitely is that, yes.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this one just because of the odd premise of it.
That's fair.
But before we get into that, how you been, man? How you doing? Let's do a mini The Flock podcast.
Well, let's see. I'm still playing Doom Eternal. I haven't beaten it yet, although I'm at the end. For anyone that's played it and beaten it, after you beat one of the levels, when you go back to like the hub area and try to interact with going to the next level, the game is like, this is it. This is the point of no return. Once you go on this mission, you will not come back until you're done.
That's right.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to go do some other stuff then. And there's like one or two collectibles in the hub area that I haven't gotten yet. And one of the levels I beat without getting all the collectibles. So my plan is to go back and get all of the collectibles on that one level before continuing on with the story. But since I got the point of no return thing, that leads me to believe that I'm probably only one or two levels away from the end of the game.
Yeah, even though I just played this, I don't remember if it's like a level and then a boss fight and a final boss fight, or if it's just boss fights. I think there is a bit of a level before then. So there's quite a bit of gameplay left, like comparatively. Not like hours of content, but yeah, you're at the end of the game.
Yeah, I'm at like the climax of the game. I then after that, of course, I have to play both of the DLCs. But I haven't gotten there yet, so I'm going to worry about that when I get there.
So the last times you were smart to get all of the collectibles as you went up to this point, right? For the most part. Mm-hmm. Both of the times I've played this game, once I've hit this point, I was like, oh shit, I better go back and get everything, which essentially makes you replay the entire game over again to get anything that you missed.
Pretty much, yeah.
So that's what I did, but I did complete my last playthrough getting every single thing. every Praetor suit token, every Sentinel battery, every upgrade, just the whole shebang, all the Sentinel crystals, you name it.
Yeah,
all the gates.
So far, I've gotten all of the map collectibles, but I have not completed all of the challenges. So there are some Sentinel batteries I haven't gotten yet.
That
so
happens.
I guess I'll probably have to go back and get those. But on the other hand, I think I only need 4 more to get everything in the fortress, and there are more than 4 Sentinel batteries I haven't collected yet. So I probably won't get all of them, but.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think that there are more Sentinel batteries than you can spend overall in the game. So I talked a little bit about this last time, and guys, don't worry, I'm not going to bring up whatever my seizure condition is that we're not sure if it's epilepsy or a different one. But I'm taking a break from. I was playing Ancient Gods for the first time, the Doom Eternal DLC, and I got to take a break because that game and other fast-paced, flashy games like that do seem to be a seizure trigger for me. So I am afraid to boot up Doom Eternal, and kind of bummed because now I'm wondering if the new, what is it, Dark Ages, Doom, the Dark Ages, or whatever the new game is, the Dark Age.
Yeah, that's the one.
I'm wondering if I'm gonna have to skip that now.
Have you gone back and played 2016 since?
A bit, yeah. That one doesn't seem to be doing it, but it's it's not consistent, right? I just don't.
Fair enough.
I just don't know.
Yeah, it's probably for the best
to boot up the Xbox right now. Although I did boot it up, I am back in Persona 3 Reload.
Of course you are. Oh, Reload.
Finally.
Okay.
Yeah, I never finished it.
I'm not going to lie. The reason I said, of course you are, was because you said I started I'm back on Persona. And before you even finished the sentence, I was like, yeah, Persona 4 Golden, just like always. And then then I didn't even notice that you said 3 Reload. And I was like, wait, shit, hold on.
Well, guess what? I did start a new game plus of Persona 4 Golden. And then I was like, man, you got to clean your plate before you have dessert. All right.
Yeah.
I gotta get through. I gotta knock out Reload. I did something annoying though that almost made me want to reload an earlier save file. Where I left Persona 3 suspended while I was doing other things on the Xbox. So it was in the quick resume for however long my Xbox had been on other times between the last time I played the game. So when I pop back in, suddenly my save file has added 20 hours onto its gameplay length. And I was like, I have not been playing this game for 70 hours. This is not accurate. And I'm upset about this. And I might. But I didn't. I forced myself to keep going.
That's fine. Not a big deal.
No, don't do this.
I always, I pretty much always have, probably at least a dozen additional hours on a save file than it takes me to beat a game, because I'm the kind of guy where I'm like, I'll be playing a game and then I'll pause it, and I'll be playing a game and then I'll go, I'm hungry, and so I'll get up to go make dinner, but rather than turning the system off, I'll just pause it, and so it'll be paused for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then I'll come back and I'll play while I eat, which means that I'll play for a minute or two and then eat for a couple of minutes, and so also the time extends out there, or if I have to go to the bathroom or take a shower or something, I generally won't turn the system off if I'm going to be back in less than an hour,
Right. But 20 additional hours.
Well, that's how it goes.
I don't like it. That's my own problem, And I only care with role-playing games for some reason. Cause that number of hours completion is a badge of honor,
That's also a good because people aren't oh, how long does it take to beat God of War or whatever? The amount of time you've spent playing an RPG is an indicator of both how long it takes to beat, obviously, but also how far into the game you are.
Exactly.
And RPGs, the number of hours you play is important to the game in a way it's not in other genres.
Yeah, so I'll get over it though.
Yeah, it's fine.
You cleared the game, right?
Reload, yes, I did.
Yeah, so I am at the point where we have. We're gonna do this spoiler free. Even though I don't think anyone listening cares. In November, I believe, the quote unquote final full moon I just cleared that boss earlier today.
All right. So, yeah, you're like most of the way there because I think that's only another month or maybe 2.
I think there's a couple, 2, maybe even 3, like November, December. There's at least November and December, right?
Yeah.
So I'm getting there. I'm close.
Yeah, I think there's like a month of stuff through December and then a month of stuff through January. And then I think the game skips February and jumps to March, I think is how it works. But
Something like
again,
that.
I played it like when it came out, which was 4 or 5 months ago. So I don't entirely remember because that playthrough is also the first time I'd ever played Persona 3 in general. So
Yeah. Meanwhile, I've played the other versions in the past, although I don't think I ever cleared FES. I think I only cleared Portable.
Which reminds me, the FES DLC comes out relatively soon too.
Yeah, which if you're a Game Pass member, you had a window of opportunity there to get it for free.
Nice.
So I already have it. I can't play it, obviously, but I got it. I'm ready to go when it unlocks.
Yeah.
All right. Should we go on to gaming news, or did I lean too hard into us doing a Flock podcast last episode, and we should just get into our podcast?
Either one is fine.
Speaking of, I think we'll call our shot now. Our next released episode is going to be part 1 of Sea of Sorrows. That's the book we're reading, right?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable that they released 2 novels in the same trilogy, Sea of Sorrows and River of Pain, and I cannot keep them straight in my head despite having read them both.
Yeah. I hear you. But yeah, sea of Sorrows is the one we were reading, yes.
Yes, and we did record that with Bob 8, from some podcast. I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I can't remember either. It's fine, though.
Prior to our hiatus. So that is an old recording, but it'll be coming out as our next episode. I can't guarantee our following one after that will be part 2 of Sea of Sorrows, but we are getting that scheduled. So dust off your paperbacks.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. It's one of those things where we were at one point generally trying to keep roughly 2 episodes ahead, but now that we're just only recently getting back to recording again, we're kind of like, what do we want to record this week?
Yes, and which has caused us to read Aliens Pig.
Yeah, that is a big part of the reason why we're reading Pig right now. Yes.
And I know there's all kinds of we still got to finish the What If series. I think all of those are out by now, but we'll get there. We'll get there, guys.
Yeah, it's not that they're going anywhere. It's fine.
Yeah, everyone's already read them anyway. Jeez Louise.
That's probably true. Knowing our luck.
You want to get into this bad boy, Kenny? Have we wasted enough time?
Yeah, I think we're probably good.
All right. Aliens Pig, a one-shot comic from 1997, published by Dark Horse Comics, reprinted by Marvel as part of the original year's Omnibus Volume 3, I think, and available as a standalone issue on digital platforms. Written by Chuck Dixon, penciled by Flint Henry, inks by Andrew Peepoy, colors by Carrie Porter, and letters by Steve Dutro. Also, the cover art by Chris Scalf is pretty dope.
Yeah, I really like the cover a lot. It's very funny to me.
I'll give a shout out to that cover. A lot of familiar names in this. Chuck Dixon, very well known for being a prolific writer of Batman. A bunch of different Batman series in the 90s. Also, quite a few Punisher comics.
He sure has.
Yeah. Are you familiar with his Punisher work?
I don't remember which ones off the top of my head that he wrote, but I've read basically every run of Punisher, so I'm sure I've read some of his stuff. I'm looking up right now which ones he's written. Ah, cool. Love to type Chuck Dixon in on Google, and one of the first links is the Chuck Dixon YouTube page with a video called "I Am Acquitted of Charges."
Holy shit, I did not know about this.
Very cool. It says charges of plagiarism, apparently.
Okay, so we're not dealing with Chuck Dixon allegations.
Doesn't look like it, no. Okay, let's see.
Real quick, typing Chuck Dixon allegations into Bing. First result, Green Arrow's not gay, insists writer.
Okay, sure, man.
All right.
All right, here we go. I found it. He wrote, let's see, some of the classic run. He wrote the Nam, some issues of the Nam anyway. He wrote some War Journal, some War Zone. Yeah, I've read all those. He did a big chunk of the 90s War Zone comic, which I've read. I'm more familiar with the later Punisher stuff, so the stuff I've read more often isn't stuff he's written, but I have read his Punisher stuff, yes.
Boy, it turns out that maybe Chuck Dixon does have some unpopular political beliefs.
Well, good thing we're not talking about him other than the fact that he wrote the comic.
Yeah, we're not going to get too deep into all of this. The information is out there. But if he's a scumbag, that's a bummer. Mm-hmm. We will move on.
For sure. This
comic was penciled by Flint Henry, who I am not familiar with, although I do love the style of art in this book. Mm-hmm. He's apparently a pretty popular Judge Dredd artist.
That's the one big note that I took about this comic. I'm gonna be real, man. I do not like this art style at all.
That's fair,
Yeah, I really didn't like it. I started reading it and I was like, everything looks kind of misshapen and lumpy. Like there's nothing wrong with it. It's not like, stuff is off model or whatever. I looked at it and I was like, this is not doing it for me personally.
It's a gross looking book. I think by design, it fits the story in all honesty.
Mm-hmm. Sure does.
Definitely got a 2000 AD heavy metal vibe to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
He did draw the Judge Dredd versus Aliens Incubus story,
which we're definitely going to get to because it's Judge Dredd and Alien. So
yeah, so we have to. And he did some work, interior art and cover art for the Alien Isolation comics. So we'll be seeing Flint Henry again. Sorry. Is it Flint Henry or Henry Flint? Because the Xenopedia article is saying Henry Flint, but the title page here is credited him as Flint Henry.
I don't know. I think this is the first thing of his I've ever really read. So I don't know.
My apologies if we've been saying your name backwards. Take it up with Marvel Comics, who reprinted this issue. Everyone else's name is in the correct order. I think we're dealing with a Henry Flint here.
Oh, and also Chuck Dixon also wrote all 12 issues of Bane Conquest, which I have read. So
okay,
he may have been the Bane guy. Actually, thinking about it now.
Yeah, did he do Nightfall?
I don't, off the top of my head, remember.
I think I know this.
I think he might have done that. I cannot believe it. Yeah, for which he helped create the key character of Bane. Yeah, I cannot believe it took me this long to go, Chuck Dixon. Oh, yeah, the guy that created Bane, my favorite DC Comics character. I cannot believe it took me this long for that to finally register in my brain. Yeah, that's the Bane guy. Okay.
Yeah, well, he was one of the writers in Nightfall, not the only writer.
Yeah.
Doug Mensch, also creator of Moon Knight, wrote some Nightfall. Or, yeah, Moon Nightfall. There's something there.
we can keep on working on it.
All right.
Anyway,
speaking of the art, this comic was inked by Andrew Pepoy. I lost it. Shit. I got it. He also worked on the Aliens Xenogenesis books and several Predator series. The Predator Xenogenesis, that was a crossover series. And R2 vs. Predator 2, which we will be getting to soon.
We sure will. There is a Flint Henry and a Henry Flint, and they're two different people. I don't know. I mean, since it's credited as Flint Henry, I have to assume that's the one that drew this comic. But yeah, Henry Flint and Flint Henry are two different people. So
yeah, I see what you're saying here, Kenny. I am on Comic Vine. And we've got Flint Henry, an American comics artist most known for his groundbreaking work on Grimjack or for First Comics and Man Bat for DC. He is not to be confused with the British comics artist Henry Flint. And on here, they are crediting him with Aliens, Alien Isolation, and some Savage Sword of Conan, hell yeah, and some Judge Dredd. So I think Flint Henry is our man.
Well, then I guess they got it wrong on Xenopedia then.
Seem to. It's very confusing.
Yeah, it's weird. I can't imagine a weird, like a pair of names like Flint and Henry. What are the chances that both of them would be combined in such a way where two different guys would have the same job with the same pair
that's
of names?
crazy. That must have been a nightmare for bookkeeping. Hey, if any of you have the original issue of Aliens Pig and know what the name is on the credits page of that, mother at crooksmedical.net or slide into our DMs.
That's right.
Yeah, let us know, and then we'll let other people know. That's how this works.
It's exactly how it works. You know it.
We love to learn on this show. Let's jump into this bad boy. Guys, we read this ahead because it's not a new comic, so spoilers, of course. This one might have been fun to read live after having read it beforehand, but
It's fine, though.
Not going to try to fake it.
Yeah, it's fine.
We opened this story in space, strangely enough, with a couple of
we sure do.
Couple of dumbasses chasing something slippery around.
Yeah, it's a tool and a lorry.
Yes, and I think this first page is trying to make you think they're hunting for like a chest burster or something, because they're like trying to catch it, or we're screwed, or we're screwed, and I'm trying, but the damn thing's slippery.
It kind of feels like that, but they give up the ghost after like maybe a page.
Yeah, immediately. Yeah, they were chasing a pig.
Yeah. They finally catch it, pick it up. They refer to it as Pork Chop. And so I was like, oh, maybe its name is Pork Chop. But then I realized that it's like, maybe it's just like a derisive nickname for just like the pig we have. But then later on, we see the pig's food bowl and it literally has Pork Chop written on it.
Jesus
so the pig's
Christ.
name is actually Pork Chop.
And I did not realize that when I had Coolerbot cooking pork chops in the intro.
It's fine.
But those are synthetic meat, guys.
Yeah, it's fine.
Man, these guys are, and the art style already, like this is a grimy book. The best looking thing in this book is the pig. Look at those eyes.
For sure.
They really make you feel for the pig in this.
But they capture the pig, and then their conversation makes it clear that they have a plan for it beyond simply cooking it, which is what the original plan for it was.
Yes.
But they've come up with something new to do with it.
Yeah, this guy, I guess the captain of this weird bean-shaped ship, is named Stitch. Mm-hmm. And he, through deep spectroscopic readings, has found that a ship called the Wanderer has gone down on this planet that they're around. This unnamed planet, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I remember.
I never recall them ever giving the planet a name, so it's just the planet, you know?
And this ship is carrying a full load of iridium ore. And they want to get it before the United Mining Station sends out their salvage team from Quad Station.
Because the load is worth 70 mil, it's believed.
Holy smokes, yeah.
And so they're going to want to get to it first. Unfortunately, the ship crashed right on top of a bug hive.
Oh, fuck.
And everyone's like, wait, bugs. Are you sure it's bugs? Which, side note, it's wild to me that everyone suddenly knows what bugs mean. I guess xenomorphs, in the canonicity of this comic, xenomorphs are like a known thing now, I guess.
Well, this is Dark Horse era, right? So they've already invaded Earth at this point. I think
that's true.
I think
that's a good point.
Everyone knows what they're just out there. They're just a thing that you got to deal with. These fucking names, dude. Sorry.
Yeah.
We've got Lori.
There's Lori, Toolman, Stitch, Dunphy, and then there's a fifth guy, and I can't remember what his name is. It's like Stokes or something, because he doesn't ever do anything important, so I can't remember what his name is.
These are like the names of like the bad guys in like the Crow sequels.
Yeah, the guy's name, he's referred to as Tool the entire time, except for the one time somebody calls him Tool Man, and Lorry is spelled Lorry, not Lorrie for some reason.
It's
very strange.
Yeah, these names, I can't. Anyway,
they're playing
very 1997 names, I think is my point. This is straight out of a Dimension sequel.
Oh, I mean, those names definitely sound like the names of the rest of the crew in Alien Resurrection, for sure.
Yes.
which also came out in 1997.
There's something in the water.
But yeah, their plan is they're going to strap a bomb to Porkchop and then drop him into the xenomorph nest and then remotely detonate it. Which, okay, look, I gotta say, that does not seem like a very good plan to me, because during the conversation, they say that the explosion will, quote, leave a crater 2 clicks across.
Right.
When they've already said that the ship crashed into the nest.
Yeah.
So if it's going to vaporize everything in that huge area, the ship will also get vaporized. How will this help them?
Yeah, I know. I mean, maybe they're thinking like the nest is deep underground. So if they take him down deep enough, it'll blow up the nest and then it'll be safe for us. But that still doesn't seem like a good plan, because like that plan needs every single xenomorph to be down inside the nest.
Yeah.
And then you're going to crater out underneath the ship and it's just going to fall and be harder to get to. I don't know, man.
Yeah, like their plan does not seem to me like it's going to work, but they're going to try it anyway.
I mean, this is a ship full of dumbasses.
It sure is. All 5 of them are extremely stupid. The pig is the only smart one.
Yeah, man. One of these guys has a robot arm that I'm obsessed with. He's smoking a cigarette in one panel, and then in another panel, he's using a built-in cigarette lighter in his arm to light a cigarette.
Is that Tool? Is that who that is?
I think that's Tool. Yeah, he's got the glasses on his head, the goggles, rather.
I think that is Tool. Yeah.
Yeah. It's giving me Malibu Mortal Kombat comic vibes with that robot arm.
So Tool and Lori, after they've strapped up Porkchop, we know what his name is by this point.
Yeah. Shows him respect.
The two of them fly off on a little skiff to go drop Porkchop down onto the surface. And while this is happening, the guy named Dunphy seems extremely upset that they're doing this.
Yeah, he thinks it's a dumb plan because it is.
And so him and Stitch, they get into another argument about the pig, and then it cuts to Porkchop, and he's like on the surface sniffing around, and then some xenomorphs show up and start chasing him, and then he runs off.
Yeah, this is, man, these panels, this pig just looking up at the ship. Because, like, look, on the ship, Porkchop's got a bowl, a food bowl with his name on it.
With his name on it, yeah.
And I understand that their plan is to fatten this pig up to eat on the way back. But still, the pig don't know that, right? And this pig has been, like, domesticated. First of all, I think his meat's going to be really gamey because of that.
Yeah, probably.
But also, fuck these guys.
Yeah, they're, like we said, they're all huge fucking dumbasses, so it's not that big of a deal anyway.
Yeah, and we see, as the pig as Porkchop, pardon me, is on the planet and the ship is taking off, we see a xenomorph tail like rise up, and then a whole mess of them like show up to start chasing them, and Stitch or whoever the fuck is in charge is like, stop running, you motherfucker, as they're tracking it on like a computer map, right?
Yeah, their plan is they want the pig to get taken by some xenomorphs.
Yeah.
So the xeno can bring him back to the hive. And so they're like, stop running, let it catch you. But then when the xenomorphs show up and Porkchop starts running, by pure chance, he ends up running in the direction of the hive. And so they're like, yeah. And then Stitch pulls out his remote detonator and then activates it. He finally sets them up the bomb, as I wrote in my notes.
Yes.
And he click, 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 click. Nothing happens. Click, click, click. And the bomb doesn't go off.
Yeah, this is not a click, click, boom situation.
And Tool explains that it doesn't really matter. It's not a big deal because not only is there a remote detonator, but he also set both a timer for 12 hours
Yes.
and a movement-based proximity sensor on the bomb as well. So it's fine. We'll just wait it out.
Right. So specifically, if there's no detonation after 12 hours, the proximity fuse activates. So if anything comes close to him, to the pig, kaboom. right?
And Dunphy gets really drunk and then makes fun of the plan and the people that enacted the plan for it not going well.
Yeah.
And then for some reason he goes, all right, I'm going to make fun of you guys and drink a whole bunch. And now I'm going to go to bed. See you jerks later.
Dude has never been to like a middle school sleepover.
Yeah.
You don't go to sleep first, man.
And then right after he passes out, they build another bomb and then kidnap Dunphy and rig the bomb up onto him and then drop him on the surface of the planet.
Yeah, they fucking punch him in the face as he's like waking up. Like, what the fuck is happening? They strap the bomb to him and they just drop him on the planet. Mm-hmm. And they're like, come on, man. Look, 70 million's a lot of money, especially if we only split it 4 ways instead of 5. And now you get to see Porkchop again.
And so he gets, he falls on the planet, watches the little skiff ship fly away, and then he's kind of wandering around, slips, falls, tumbles down a hill, and then suddenly, as you may imagine,
sweating like profusely.
Some xenomorphs pop up and start chasing him, and he goes, ah, and then they get him and they drag him to the nest.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back to the ship and Stitch is standing there like watching it, and he goes, oh baby, here we go, and hits the remote detonator, and this time the bomb does go off.
There we go. Yeah, he's like, who's laughing now? Boom. Yeah, this time the plan worked.
Yeah, this time the plan worked. And
There's
so
I do like this scene of him like in the nest screaming like, Stitch, you son of a bitch, do it, right? Like fucking put me out of my misery.
Yeah, may as well, because they're not even like face hugging him. They're literally just like surgically cutting him up. They're just like stabbing him and prodding him with like their spike tails and stuff.
Yeah, they're trying to capture him, and yeah, kaboom. It worked. Seemed to work.
Yep.
There is a face hugger emerging from an ovomorph there in the front of that panel. It's a cool panel, actually.
Meanwhile, though, after the bomb successfully goes off, the rest of them land on the surface and come out in like these big, like they're kinda power loader suits and kinda mech suits.
Yeah,
they're like exposed like a power loader is, but they have like weapons and like armor built into them and stuff.
Yeah, made by Weyland-Yutani. You do see a Weyland-Yutani logo on the shoulder. And these are like military loaders. These are kind of like they reminded me of the mining suit we see in Aliens What If that I'm, guaranteed is going to play a role in the rest of the series that we haven't read yet.
We still haven't read it, yeah.
So, but the rest of you who have, no spoilers.
And so, yeah, the other 4 of them land on the surface wearing these things, and as they're, trundling their way over to the Wanderer, a whole bunch of Xenos jump out and ambush them, and so they start fighting all the Xenos and somehow manage to kill all of them, and all 4 of them are still alive.
Yeah, these things have some firepower, flamethrowers and all kinds of shit built in. Mm-hmm. They are just blowing them away. 2 in the suits, and then there's 2 still on board.
Well, I was under the impression that I think they get out of the suits after they kill all these Xenos.
They do. After they're all dead, the whole group sort of reconvenes.
And so the 4 of them make their way up to the Wanderer when they hear a noise. And Neil, what happens?
Oh my gosh, they hear a little re. And notice that's a re, that's not a scree. Mm-hmm. Because it's Porkchop, guys. Porkchop's made it. Porkchop's back. Hell yeah, Porkchop.
Yep, he's after all this, he's still alive. He's managed to make it, and he runs up to them, and he seems pretty happy to see them. He's like smiling, and he like sits down, and when he sits down, they're like, "Hey, wait a minute, he still has that bomb on him, and it still hasn't gone off." Yeah, didn't you say there was a movement proximity sensor on him? Yeah. And then somebody goes, how close do you need to be to set it off? And then Stitch goes, good point. Fucking this close, actually. And just as they all go, oh shit, and turn to run, the bomb goes off. And not only does everyone get killed, the explosion also destroys both their ship and the Wanderer.
The end, guys. That's the end.
Yeah, that's the end. That's how the comic ends. The end.
The pig dies.
The final panel of the comic is a full-page panel of the explosion just destroying everything.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's the book.
That's the whole book, folks.
That's it, man. Yeah, I don't think I have a whole lot to say.
Yeah, that's the thing. I have very
Otherwise.
little to say about the story. I didn't love the artwork, although you are right. The pig is kind of cute. Like, he looks kind of weirdly cute drawn in this art style.
Yes.
But it's just a tiny little like one-off story. It didn't really go anywhere. It didn't like advance the franchise at all. Not that I was necessarily expecting it to. I'm not saying that every
Right.
single story should, but like this one doesn't really do anything. Like everything ends up exactly the way it did when it started. So like nothing was really accomplished or gained. And like one thing about it that I did really like is, other than the little shoulder patch on the mech suits that you pointed out,
Yes.
Wei Yu is not involved in this story at all, which is relatively rare. So I will give it points for that.
Yeah, these are just like some space mercenaries, I'm gonna guess, or just like salvagers.
Yeah, they
know?
seem to be some kind of salvager or something. Yeah.
They don't seem particularly good at what they do. Like their whole ship is a fucking cluttered mess, and they're all assholes to each other, and nobody likes each. I mean, they don't seem like they're good.
And their
this.
plan sucks and it fails anyway. So yeah, they're clearly not very good at their job.
They're just like junkers or something that got greedy, and I don't know. I'm not sure what this book is trying to say, other than like, don't fuck with pigs, I guess.
I guess. I don't know. Like, I'm not really sure what like the idea of the story is anyway, because like I said, it doesn't really like go anywhere. It doesn't really accomplish anything. It doesn't have any like implications for the rest of the franchise. None of these characters had ever been seen before, and we're clearly never going to see them again. It's like, I don't want to say it may as well have not existed, because the very nature of one-shots is that they're kind of bottle episodes that are just on their own. So I'm not saying it may as well not exist, but it's like, it was just like a little story that showed up and told you its story and then left, just like the anthology pieces in Black, White, and Blood. It just kind of shows up, tells you its thing, and then goes away, and that's the end of that, you know?
That's a good comparison. This does feel like a Black, White, and Blood type story, where
It
they
does.
were like, now here's our chance to do something unconventional for an Aliens book, right? And credit where credit's due. I think that the idea of using a non-human rigged with a bomb to try to blow up a xenomorph nest, pretty good idea, I think, if it's something that that they will take in there to utilize, right? Like,
For sure.
I don't know if a little pig is the right thing, because the other thing that xenomorphs do that this doesn't acknowledge is they also just kind of eat stuff, right?
Yep.
So like a xenomorph
sure do.
could have just eaten the pig on the surface and the whole thing is blown. But it's an interesting idea, and I don't know. I mean, I can't think of anything that we've covered on the show that tackles that same concept, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Have they sent anyone in with a bomb inside them or anything like that? I mean, aside from like Ripley going in with all the grenades and shit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really think of any other example off the top of my head.
But it seems like on paper that does seem like a pretty good idea. So,
And one thing I also do like is how when I was reading the story and the characters outlined their plan of like, strapping the bomb to him and sending him in and all that. And and how like nobody acknowledges, oh, since the crash is on the nest, if we blow up the nest, it'll also blow up the crash. And how like nobody acknowledges or realizes that. While I was reading the story, I didn't think, oh, wow, that plan sucks. That's a huge gaping plot hole.
Right.
I thought, oh, wow, that plan sucks. These guys are canonically really stupid. Like the way it was written, it didn't feel like a plot hole. It felt like they were just stupid and didn't think it through. And that was like how it was supposed to be registered as to like the reader. And I was like, oh, that's some good writing to make me think that's their problem, not the writer's problem,
Yeah. Okay, I got to the bottom of this. Mm-hmm. Look at the cover for the Dark Horse release of Aliens Pig. It lists Dixon Henry Peepoy. So Henry's
His
the
name
last
is
name.
Flint Hen-
This
yeah,
is
Flint Henry.
Flint Henry, not Henry Flint. Hey, Xenopedia. Here's an edit for you, because you definitely have it linked to a Henry Flint page.
Who is it? Is it Synth Norbert that's an editor on Xenopedia?
I think they got pulled there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
Maybe fix that.
We're going to DM you about this in off podcast.
Yeah,
So
we won't do it. We won't take up the time to do it right now, but yeah.
maybe it'll be fixed by the time this episode comes out. But also, who cares? No one cares.
Yeah. I mean, who else is reading Pig in 2024, you know?
I bet Tom will.
I bet Tom will. I mean, I'm sure there's at least one or two people out there
Sure.
that now that they're hearing we're doing an episode on it, they'll read it.
Yeah, so we can't do the thing where it's like, hey, if you didn't have to read this for the podcast, would you read the next issue of Aliens Pig? Because it's a one shot, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm going to rephrase this question for you, Kenny. If you had just seen this sitting on a shelf, right? Maybe you're flipping through the back issue boxes at the store. There's something, something like that. Would you have picked this up just based on like the cover and the premise?
I would, if I saw it in like a long box of like back issues for $1 or whatever,
Sure.
and I came across a comic labeled Aliens Pig, I would definitely pull it out of the long box and go, what the hell? And flip through it. Because the name Aliens: Pig is a very weird and intriguing name.
Yes.
Just like how, Neil, you and I were talking privately, like not on the show, yesterday or the day before,
Yep.
about another Alien comic they released called Aliens the Alien.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just such a weird and strange name for a comic that you see something called Aliens the Alien, you gotta check it out. Same
Sure.
thing with Aliens Pig. You find a comic called Pig, and it has like a xenomorph standing there, and then there's like a little babe looking pig running around. You gotta check this out and see what the fucking deal is,
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's exactly what happened to me when I discovered that this was out there. I was like, yeah, I gotta read Pig. Having read it, kind of a one trick story, isn't it?
Yeah, there isn't really anything to it. You see the name Aliens Pig, and then if you were told the one sentence description of like a group of salvagers send a pig strapped with a bomb to try to clear out a xenomorph nest, and you're like, yeah, I can probably pretty much picture what happened. And then you read the story and you're like, yeah, this is exactly what I thought was going to happen.
So in my head, based on that premise, I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be like the annual, the dialogueless annual that came out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where it's like, we're just going to follow this pig as it tries to survive inside a hive or something. And that's going to be kind of dope as a storytelling device,
Yeah.
Obviously that's not what we got, but like just based on the premise, because that is the premise, right?
Yeah.
Will this pig survive this alien hive? I don't know. That's an interesting story to me. It's not what we got. I'm not complaining like, oh, he should have done this instead or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm just saying like I'm imagining that as the story, and that's really intriguing to me. Instead, we got a story where a bunch of scumbags get what's coming to them, right? Which is
That's
also
true, they do.
also satisfying, but
Yeah. In its own way. Yeah.
this is not going to go down as an all-time classic. This is going to get sort of relegated to there's this interesting story about these guys who try to clear out a xenomorph nest with a pig, and it was kind of like this other story I read where there's some guys working on a xenomorph hunting lodge. Like it is going to fall into the line of like those black, white, and blood sort of odd stories.
This is definitely an also ran for sure. It's not anything special. It's not, like you said, it's not going to go down on like a 10 best list or whatever.
Right.
I don't even want, it's not even particularly interesting. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just the comic basically just does the premise you kind of think that it would.
Yeah.
And then everyone dies at the end, like most people at the end of an Alien story do. You know?
Yeah.
That's about it. No, it's not really anything special. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not really anything special.
I am bummed that the pig died. Like, would have loved that the pig like got out of the harness and they just sort of walked up on the thing in the proximity thing and then pop. and then
Yeah, I was expecting the pig to have like escaped and then they stumble across the bomb that it like wriggled its way out of.
Yeah.
The other thing I was expecting was the comic ends with a half pig, half xenomorph hybrid creature.
that would have been fucking rad, dude. Oh my God. Holy shit.
That was the other thing I was going into this expecting, and neither of the things I expected to happen actually did.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't pull their punches. Like, we've seen children get, chest bursted recently in Marvel Comics. So, like, the killing the pig definitely gives you, like, an emotional punch that the story was sort of lacking, but also, like, makes the book feel really just kind of grim and grimy, right? Which certainly was the objective.
This certainly is not the first time they've ever killed an animal in an Alien story, but if you recall, my main complaint with Alien 3 is that we had to watch the dog getting killed for the story to happen. Yeah. And it's like the pig doesn't need to get killed for the story to happen, but the pig did get killed as part of how the story ends up resolving,
Right.
So it still emotionally kind of feels the same.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's dark. It's dark humor, right?
I will agree with your earlier comment. The comic is pretty grim, actually.
Yeah.
And not just because it ends with everyone getting killed. Like, the comic just has like a tone of just general grimness. Like, they're going after a ship that's downed and it's on top of a whole hive of xenomorphs, and they end up sacrificing some guy's life to try to get in there, and all of them are dead, and like, it's just, there's a whole lot of generally grim things that happen in this comic, and not just the ending.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't want to say that's different from most Alien stories, but in most Alien stories, there's usually at least one survivor.
Yeah, there's a little bit of hope in them, right?
Yeah.
You know what this made me want to read? Dead Orbit.
Yeah, we really need to get to that sometime, don't we?
We might need to just slot Dead Orbit in earlier than anticipated. We'll see. We'll put it on the short list.
For sure.
But this did make me want to, because Stoko can similarly draw a real grimy environment, but with just a technical skill that is better than this.
Frankly, insane is what it is.
Stoko is a mastermind. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Stoko is just a master. Stoko's a master. There it is.
I'll agree with that, yeah.
You guys should read, if you can get your hands on it. His Orkstein book is some of the most fun comics I've ever read.
He also did a Godzilla comic that I remember being very highly regarded as well.
Half Century War is terrific, and he did one of the issues of Godzilla in Hell. I'm not sure if he's done other Godzilla work, but...
Yeah, Half Century War was the one I was referring to, but I do know that he also worked on In Hell at one point. Yeah,
he's been a madman for a long time. I have some of the Meat House anthologies that he did a lot of like shorts in, like just... One of my favorite creators, honestly. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Orkstein while I have your attention, Kenny. It's a fantasy world about orcs, right? Mm-hmm. And guess what their currency is?
I'm sure it's something stupid.
It's something disgusting and totally fitting for orcs.
Okay. So it's like dried pieces of poop.
You had the dried part right.
Okay. All right. I don't know.
So it's called Gronks. Okay. And what these orcs do is once they have, bested another orc in battle or whatever the situation is, they cut that orc's penis off, dry it out, and slice it into discs like coins, and that's their currency.
So I take it the orcs in this world are really hanging then.
Hey, yo.
Got him.
It's a good book.
Oh, I mean, I believe it is. Did he also write it?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably is a good book. I don't know off the top of my head any comics he's ever made that were bad, so I'm sure it's good.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, reading Aliens Pig has just made me want to read a better Aliens comic by a less problematic creator.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I think those are my final thoughts on
I don't think I have anything else.
All right. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, listeners, maybe check out Pig if you feel like it. It's only like 22, 24 pages long. It's a one-shot. It doesn't go anywhere. If you want to take 20 minutes to read it, go ahead. If not, you're not really going to be missing anything. It's fine either way.
Yeah, if you like the sort of grimy look of like your 2000 ADs or some of your heavy metal stories and things like that, probably right up your alley, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't regret reading it, you know. I just don't.
Oh, yeah. Definitely not. I mean, it's a relatively breezy read, and it's really like easy to understand. Like the characters are visually distinct from each other, and there's only like 5 of them anyway. Like it's an easy comic to read, so it's not like you'll be scratching your head and, you know, rubbing your jaw trying to figure out how everything works out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, check it out. It's fine.
Yeah, why the heck not?
Why the heck not? But pirate it online for free.
That's like I did.
Kenny, where can people find you on the internet if you want them to?
I'm on Twitter and Blue Sky and the PSN and probably 1 or 2 other services that I use less often, but those are the main ones that I interact with. My handle is @CYHOBBEZ. Neil, how about you?
I am on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, Twitch, TikTok, @FinalNeil. That's Neil with an A.
I don't know if you're on TikTok or not, actually.
I am, but I don't really post things there all that often. Yeah, but hey, if you want to get a hold of me, you know, the DMs are open. Mm-hmm. Where can people find the show on the internet?
Our Twitter handle is @CrewExpendapod. Our Blue Sky is @CrewExpendable. Our Instagram and our Threads is @CrewExpendablepod. Our YouTube is youtube.com/@CrewExpendable. Our website is crewexpendable.net. And if you want to send us an email, put mother at the beginning of our website.
There you go. Shout out to our YouTube audience. I am now, I am currently uploading our videos over there manually as opposed to the automated service that I was using. I think I'm going to check out what YouTube does now to automatically add podcast episodes to a feed since they don't double up anymore. So there might be some brief delays with YouTube uploads. Because
we'll get it sorted though.
Because the service I was using costs money that I don't want to spend anymore, guys.
I hear you.
This show is really. No, I'm kidding. It's fine.
I mean, it's not like breaking the bank, but it's not $0.
It's definitely not $0. But hey, that's all right.
It's fine.
It's fine. We will be back next episode to probably be starting our Sea of Sorrows discussion. That will be a 3-parter, and we're trying to get Bob 8 to join us for all of them. Mm-hmm. So part 1 should be coming next, and again, recorded before the hiatus.
So yeah, if it seems a little different, or if there isn't continuity in our conversations between now and then, that'll be why.
Yeah, try to see if you can spot differences in my personality from before and after I had a head injury.
You certainly did.
All right, so until then,
stay frosty.